Hello, everyone. Good morning and happy fall. Thank you for joining me today. This is session 2 of Newcomer Orientation and Settlement in English, and today we're going to be talking about working in Canada and Ontario. My name, again, is Doha Hano. I'm a publicist at Parsai Immigration Services. My boss, whom you all know, Al Parsai, is a regulated immigration consultant, and our company not only cares about helping immigrants come to Canada, but also helping people settle as well. Because culture shock can be alarming and frustrating, but no worries, we are here to assist you. Our website, settler.ca, was designed with the purpose of providing information regarding immigration in a collection of articles written by Al himself. I'll be assisting you through your orientation and settlement in a series of webinars. So this is session number 2. Which will also be accompanied by articles. And you can always access these webinars later on because they're recorded through Facebook Live, so you can always go on the Parsai Immigration Services site and watch these webinars over and over again and share them with friends and others. And the purpose of these webinars is to solely just to be helpful and help people understand some of the aspects of coming to Canada, working in Canada, living in Canada, immigrating to Canada, and more. So we are going to be doing a lot of different kinds of webinars in the future, and they're going to get very detailed, and they're going to talk about things like building a resume, creating a job application, or what resources to use to maybe help yourself find a job. We're going to talk about details to living, like paying mortgage, getting a loan from the bank, and etc., etc. We're even going to be talking about some of the best spots to find food and coffee and stuff like that in Ontario and Canada. So with more sessions and more webinars, we're going to get very detailed, and we're going to talk about a lot more different things. So, for example, in session 1, I talked about some of the important things about moving to Canada and Ontario. So in this session, we are going to talk about the important elements of working in Canada and Ontario. And I'm just going to be giving a very general, very general overview of what you need to know to be able to work in Canada. As I said, we are going to get more in detail as we proceed with webinars, and in the future we're going to get more specific about working in Canada and all the little aspects that go around it. So the topics we will be covering today are getting started, working in your field, evaluating your credentials, Ontario's Immigrant Nominee Program, and starting your own business. So these are the 5 little topics that we're just going to be talking about very quickly today. Because the Ontario economy offers many different kinds of work, opportunities, and information to help you prepare for your job search. So we will also provide resources for all your needs, and some of these topics we'll be covering in detail, like I said many times before. So let's get started. According to the Government of Canada, the first really important thing you need to know in order to find and get a job in Canada is to get a SIN number, or a social insurance number. You can get one from Human Resources and Social Development Canada. Normally you must apply for a SIN in person or have someone else apply for you in person. However, there is no fee to apply for a SIN number, so it's free of charge. And you can visit our website, which is www.settler.ca. That's settler.ca. And you can actually find an entire article about SIN numbers that Al wrote in order to kind of give a better understanding regarding SIN cards and SIN numbers. You should also know that you don't need a work permit to work in Canada if you are a permanent resident, although you do need a temporary work permit if you're just staying and working in Ontario for a short time or seasonally. There are other reasons you may not need a work permit to legally work in Canada. For example, some students are able to work while studying and after graduation. But if you are a student that plans on working, you need a work permit. There is a lot more information about how to legally work in Canada and obtain a work permit, again, on settler.ca. The second thing we're going to talk about is that it's also important to understand your legal rights in the workplace. Ontario's Ministry of Labour and Employment Ontario, as well as many other government agencies, offer information to help you understand everything from employment standards to health and safety to laws to your rights at work. Minimum wage, for example, vacation time, public holidays, termination notice and pay, etc. All the information provided is regulated under Ontario's Occupational Health and Safety Administration, otherwise known as OHSA or OHSA. It is one of your employer's duties under the OHSA to provide specific instructions and information on how to stay safe while doing your job. If your employer fails to provide this information, that is illegal. So they need to provide you with information on how to stay safe while doing your job. New and young workers are 3 times more likely to get injured during their first month on the job because they are unfamiliar with workplace hazards and safety concerns. So it is very important that your employer lets you know right from the start all of the hazards, potential hazards, and all of the safety concerns of your workplace. This is where the law comes in. The OHSA ensures safe and healthful working conditions for working men and women by setting and enforcing standards and by providing training, outreach, education, and assistance. So that is what this organization does. And it's really important to understand, again, your rights at work. So now we're going to talk about working in your field. Once you understand workplace rights, it's time to start considering what kinds of jobs you'd be interested in. A lot of newcomers wonder if they can find a job in their field and put their knowledge and skills to work in Canada. So you want to use the skills that you already have and the knowledge that you already have, and you want a job in your field in Canada. And you're wondering if you can do this. Well, simply put, the answer is yes, and there are many resources in place to help newcomers find jobs in their fields. One of the resources available is called Ontario's Bridge Training Program. There's many of these different kinds of bridge training programs, but Ontario does offer bridge training programs, which can help you upgrade your qualifications, get added skills, Canadian experience, and help you prepare for exams to get a good job in your field, all without having to repeat what you've already learned. So this is bridge training. They basically evaluate you, and then they assess what skills and what information you might be missing. Maybe you need to work on your English. Maybe you need to go through a Canadian experience in order to find a job in your field in Canada. So they will basically align or hook you up with all of those resources to be able to get you a job in your field and get you all of the skills, education, or whatever you might be missing in order to get a job in your field in Canada. So that's what that is. Another resource that's available to newcomers is the Ontario Public Service, otherwise known as OPS. OPS has an internship program to give newcomers the opportunity to gain work and experience in Toronto and Ontario. Another resource to consider is Employment Ontario, which provides personalized advice and services to help people assess their skills and experience, find work, and start working on their skills. So that's another resource that's available is Employment Ontario. Another resource that's available to newcomers is Global Experience Ontario, which helps internationally trained individuals and others interested in applying for a license and registration in 14 non-health regulated professions in Ontario. Examples of non-health regulated professions are teaching, accounting, and engineering. So Global Experience Ontario might be able to help you find a job and apply for a license and registration to 14 different professions. So if you fall under one of those categories, you can definitely get help from Global Experience Ontario. Another one is Health Force Ontario, which helps internationally educated health professionals find information, advice, and support on becoming eligible to practice in Ontario. So if you are in any profession within the health or medical field, you can use Health Force Ontario to help you find information for any internationally educated health profession to basically find out how you will be eligible to practice in Ontario with your skills. Career Maps is also another resource available for newcomers. Global Experience Ontario has created a number of career maps. These maps will be essential tools in helping you to stay on track in your career path with detailed information on the steps and assessment process, examinations, and costs and labor market conditions. So these career maps are exactly as described. They basically map out your career for you. And the Global Experience Ontario, as well as a lot of other bridge training and employment services in Ontario, offer career map services. So if you go and ask for some kind of career map, they will let you know exactly what the best options are for you and your goal target, what you need to do in order to reach that goal here in Ontario and Canada. So that's definitely one of my strongest recommendations, is if you want to find a job in your field, you talk to someone that is able to offer you employment services. When you come to Canada, you need to talk to someone that can tell you what you need to do in order to get a job in your field. And there's agencies and organizations set up in Ontario for that. And Employment Ontario, Global Experience Ontario, Health Force Ontario, Career Maps, the Ontario Public Service, and many more, which I will leave in a description, or you can look out for, because I'm going to be writing articles about all of this information, which I will share on settler.ca. So you can find all of these resources again on settler.ca. After I finish this webinar, I will definitely upload all of this information online so that you can access it again. But then again, you can also watch these videos over and over again. I'm going to be leaving this on the Parsa Immigration Services site. It's going to be a permanent live video, so if you need to know the information, or if you need to repeat any of this information, you can definitely watch the video again or look out for the articles I will be writing. So now, we're going to be talking about evaluating your already existing credentials. So obviously, as a newcomer, you probably have a lot of experience and you have a lot of credentials in your home town, country, or city. So if you graduated from an educational institution outside of Canada, you will need to have your academic credentials assessed in order to find out how they are recognized in Ontario. Obviously, you don't want to go through all of that education again. You don't want to repeat that entire process, and there are assessment programs in place in Ontario to help you find out exactly where you are in terms of your credentials. If you plan on enrolling in any studies in Ontario, you will need to have your transcripts evaluated. You can contact the schools directly in order to find out what information they need from you in order to be able to go to school there. We will have an in-depth session in the future about studying in Ontario, and I'm pretty sure that will be the next webinar, the next newcomer and orientation and settlement session. That will be session number 3. We'll be studying in Ontario, and I will talk a lot more about what you need to know in order to go to school in Ontario. So regarding having your evaluating your credentials. Let's get back to that. Having your professional credentials reviewed is so important to ensure they meet Ontario's standards, because every city, town, province obviously has its own standards. So if you want to practice your profession in Ontario, you must apply to the organization that regulates and provides licensing for your specific profession. Having your trade credentials reviewed is also an important element to consider, because certification is mandatory for many skilled trades such as an electrician, a plumber, a hairstylist, and many more. Tradespeople who have enough experience to meet Ontario standards and pass a written exam receive a certificate of qualification. The government also helps tradespeople enter an apprenticeship. So depending on your profession or your trade or your whatever job you might have already have skills and experience and knowledge in, you basically have to come to Ontario and find the organization responsible for that specific job or trade or profession in order to receive licensing and for your profession, and in order to proceed and be able to work and study in that. If you are outside of Canada, you can also access this information online, or you can go to settler.ca and fill out our application form, and we basically do all of that research for you and help you with that process of evaluating your credentials and all of that. So if you go to settler.ca, that's settler.ca, which I will leave in the description, you can fill out the assessment form, and we will definitely help you if you are outside of Canada and might require a little bit of assistance. You don't necessarily know what programs. If you just fill out the assessment form, we will most likely be giving you a call and letting you know all of that information over the phone. And here we have many employees that speak different languages, so we will be able to accommodate your needs and definitely answer your questions. Or you can call us at 416-901-9115. So let's talk a little bit about provincial nominee programs, or PNP programs, such as the Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program, or otherwise known as OINP. Programs like this allow the province of Ontario to select workers and nominees in order to meet special work needs. The individuals that are nominated can receive their permanent residency faster if approved. The OINP is for international students, employers, and investors, which I'm pretty sure a lot of people are already familiar with, is the Ontario Immigrant Nominee Programs. There's a lot set in place. You can, of course, find more information about this on settler.ca. International students who are graduating or have recently graduated from a publicly funded university or college may qualify for permanent residency. If you are a master's or a PhD graduate from Ontario, you do not need a job offer to qualify for the Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program. However, if you are graduating from an undergraduate or college program in Canada, you require a permanent full-time job offer in order to qualify for the Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program. We will talk a little bit more about this later on as we explore studying in Ontario and stuff like that, but that's basically a general overview. Again, you can find more information on Ontario Immigrant Nominee Programs on settler.ca. There's a lot to talk about, and you will definitely find all of the information you need on our website. Ontario employers may fill skilled permanent positions with newcomers and immigrants and with international students that may work overseas or in Canada or on a work or study permit. So depending on your skills, of course, you may be able to fill skilled permanent positions. So employers can begin the process by applying for positions they need to be filled by foreign nationals. The government must approve the position before employers can recruit. So that is a different method of being able to basically fast forward in your immigration process And then we're going to talk a little bit about investors. So investors with long-term business projects in Ontario may use Opportunities Ontario, which is another program, another resource that I will leave in the description. It's called Opportunities Ontario, to place key employees who, if approved, would obtain permanent resident status. So that's another little thing to keep in mind, is that if you are an investor with a long-term business project, you can use this resource to basically help you place key employees that will receive their permanent resident status. We'll talk a little bit more about that as well later on. We might have a little session about the rural and northern immigration pilot that is new for 2020, will be open. Applications will be open for the rural and northern immigration pilot, and we might be having a little bit of a session about that. If not, then Al will definitely be doing a video about it and uploading it onto YouTube and Facebook. It's a really interesting pilot program to look out for. So yeah, keep a lookout for that on both Facebook and our website and our newsletter. So before we end, I'm going to talk a little bit about starting a business in Ontario. And of course, all of this information is very general, and it's a very, very just general overview. If you want more in-depth information, you should definitely look out for future sessions. This is session 2. We're going to be having a lot more sessions that talk about things very specifically. And also you can visit settler.ca, which is our website, in order to find more in-depth information about everything I've been talking about today. So now we're going to talk a little bit about starting a business in Ontario, and then I'm going to end this session, and I will look forward to seeing everybody in future sessions. So Ontario is an excellent place to start a business. Small business enterprise centers, as well as Parsai Immigration Services, can help with detailed information and services on topics like creating a business plan, hiring lawyers and accountants, licenses and permits, finding business mentors, and much, much, much more. So if you want to start a business in Ontario, I definitely recommend that you visit our website, settler.ca, and fill out our free assessment form, and someone from the office will definitely contact you. We have a lot of dedicated employees who spend their time assisting people to start businesses here at Parsai Immigration Services, and I definitely recommend that you go through with the process with us, because we, again, not only care about helping people come to Canada and immigrate to Canada, but helping them settle as well and making sure that everything is good. So that concludes session 2 of newcomer orientation and settlement, and I definitely look forward to seeing everybody in session 3. For more information, you can contact me directly at doha.hanno@parsai.ca. That is doha.hanno@parsai.ca. You can also leave a comment, and I will be reading them right now and answering your questions right now. Or you can visit our website again at settler.ca, and you can either call or fill out the application form, and someone will get back to you. So let's take a look at some of the comments here. So Akmal Gosha said, "Hi, how are you, dear? I am good. How are you?" Eddie Kitusik, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing these names right. Please don't hold me accountable if I do pronounce them wrong. I'm the worst at pronouncing names. Said, "Keep up the good work." Thank you. Hassan Abu Falah said, "Hi, hello." Mohan Ramir said, "Useful information." Thank you so very much. Definitely look forward to future sessions where we'll be going in depth and talking a lot more about specifics about living in Canada, working in Canada, studying in Canada. Again, this information was a very general overview to kind of just scrape the surface and just understand a little bit about working in Canada. But in future sessions, we'll definitely talk a lot more about a lot of those topics that I've already discussed. But what about we that are outside Canada but looking for ways to get there? I definitely recommend you visit. So that comment was from Koli Zumanigui. I definitely recommend that you visit our website and fill out our assessment form for free. And our job is to basically help you find the best option and best way for you to get here if you are living outside of Canada. So I do not read any French, but the best thing about these webinars is that they're available in 4 different languages. So my colleagues and I have organized this webinar session, and all future webinar sessions will be available in 4 different languages. So definitely look for that in the future if you want to access this information but are limited in terms of English. We will offer it in Urdu, Persian, and Spanish as well. So that was for Kasim Semake, who commented in French. Francisco says, good morning. Good morning, Francisco. And Enes Atif said, what is the easy way to move there? I am interested. I definitely recommend you visit our website, Settler.ca, and fill out our free assessment form if you want to find out what the easiest and most possible ways for you to come here. We will definitely let you know that, and that is our job. Thank you so much, everybody, for leaving your comments and for watching this, and I definitely look forward to seeing everyone in session 3. Have a great day.